A colossal human warship from the future has pierced the cosmic veil, emerging as an enigma that shatters the known order. Its silent advance, fueled by technology beyond mortal dreams, sends alien empires into trembling dread. The cosmos awaits its fate. No empire can escape the coming storm. Rise. In the far reaches of the galaxy, where legends whispered of mankind's eventual ascendancy, the cosmic stage was set by empires that ruled with iron fists and dazzling technology. For centuries, these mighty powers had anticipated humanity's rise, a slow, inevitable spark in the darkness of space that promised to light the way to an unknown future. They had meticulously planned for the day when Earth's progeny would challenge the old orders, a day when a new era would dawn. Yet none could have foreseen the shock that would unravel their carefully constructed destinies. It began on a cold void night when the cosmos itself seemed to shudder. From the silence of deep space, an anomaly emerged, a gargantuan human warship that defied every expectation and conventional law of physics. The vessel appeared without warning, as if summoned from the mists of time, its sleek hull and enigmatic design an affront to every known model of starcraft. No herald, no preamble preceded its arrival. It simply materialized, a silent, terrifying promise of change. The ship bore no known insignia, its surface unmarked by the emblems of any civilization familiar to the galaxy's ancient registers. Instead, its exterior shimmered with an otherworldly luster, a blend of futuristic alloys and design principles that defied both time and gravity. The impact of its sudden presence rippled across interstellar politics. Alien warlords, once arrogant in their supremacy, now found themselves questioning the very fabric of their power. In the opulent chambers of their flagship citadels, leaders with eyes that had witnessed countless centuries huddled over holographic star maps, trying to trace the origins of this unanticipated interloper. They were men and women whose reputations had been forged in the crucible of cosmic wars. Yet even their centuries of experience provided little solace against the mysteries the warship embodied. Some saw in it a herald of doom, a future where humanity, long underestimated and scorned, had become the master of the galaxy. Others whispered that it was a harbinger of an inevitable reckoning, a final twist in a cosmic tale where the roles of predator and prey were irrevocably reversed. On distant Earth, human leaders, long accustomed to the quiet hum of progress rather than the roar of battle, found themselves locked in a profound dilemma. The warship, with its ghostly presence, evoked a curious mixture of pride and trepidation. Was it a remnant of a future that humanity had yet to fully understand? A victorious incarnation sent back in time to rewrite the destiny of its people? Or was it a mysterious envoy from an uncertain fate, one that might herald a war already won in a timeline that had not yet come to pass? In secret conclaves and war rooms, top strategists and visionaries debated its significance. Some believed that the vessel was the culmination of humanity's hidden genius, a secret weapon born of necessity to secure a future victory. Others feared it was a warning, a demonstration of power that would force the galaxy to acknowledge the inevitability of Earth's dominion, or else face total annihilation. Amid this maelstrom of conflicting interpretations, neutral factions, traders, scholars, and even peacekeeping coalitions rushed to gather every shred of intelligence about the warship. They combed through ancient archives, decoded alien transmissions, and even sent covert probes to circle the silent colossus. Every data point only deepened the mystery. The ship's movements were unpredictable, its energy signatures unlike any known technology, and its very presence seemed to warp the fabric of space around it. As the Empire's greatest fleets and clandestine operatives converged on the warship's last known coordinates, the once proud rulers of galaxies realized that the stakes had dramatically escalated. If this vessel indeed hailed from humanity's future, a future where Earth had already claimed victory in a war yet to be fought, then the balance of power had irrevocably shifted. The galaxy, once a chessboard of calculated moves and measured ambitions, now teetered on the edge of chaos. Every empire, every militant faction, every neutral power understood one chilling truth. The arrival of the human warship was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration that the future was no longer an abstract dream, but a tangible, imminent reality. The grand designs of ancient rulers were crumbling as swiftly as cosmic dust, and a new question echoed through the void. Where did this warship come from? And what price would the galaxy pay for daring to underestimate humanity's untold potential? The old order was under siege, and in its place, a storm of uncertainty and dread began to gather, a storm that would reshape the destiny of every star in the galaxy. As word of the warship's arrival spread like wildfire, the galaxy's most formidable fleets mobilized with unprecedented speed. Alien warlords, their confidence shattered by the inexplicable appearance of this future emissary, launched armadas into the void with one shared purpose: neutralize the threat before it could tip the cosmic balance irreversibly. Massive battle formations materialized near the warship's projected trajectory, their flagship designs honed over millennia for battles that now seemed trivial in the face of such advanced technology. The first clash occurred in a remote sector, a battlefield littered with the shattered remnants of ancient cruisers and elegant battleships. The warship, with its sleek and austere design, danced through the chaos like a phantom. Laser volleys, ion beams, and plasma torpedoes converged on its silhouette, yet every assault was met with an almost preternatural defense. The ship's energy shields shimmered with an ethereal light, absorbing and dispersing the onslaught with an efficiency that defied all known physics. As enemy vessels closed in, their weapons rendered impotent by the warship's advanced countermeasures, commanders could only watch in disbelief as entire squadrons were reduced to cosmic dust without even managing a single successful hit. Inside the warship, the hum of futuristic engines and the subtle glow of advanced consoles belied the cold, calculated determination of its crew. They were not driven by malice, but by the inexorable logic of a destiny foreseen, a future in which humanity had learned to harness the very fabric of space and time. With every maneuver, the warship demonstrated an uncanny ability to predict enemy strategies. Its sensors and artificial intelligence worked in seamless concert, mapping out the enemy's tactics in real time. When an ambush was set, the ship would simply adjust its trajectory, leaving pursuers stranded in dead-end corridors of space, their orders rendered meaningless. Meanwhile, the commanders of the alien fleets scrambled to formulate counter-strategies. Holographic war maps flickered with erratic trajectories and red warnings, depicting battles that turned into catastrophic failures before they could even begin. Each attempted strike was thwarted by the warship's erratic but calculated movements. Its unpredictable leaps through space seemed to mock the rigid formations and time-tested doctrines of its adversaries. Battleships that had once been symbols of power and dominance now appeared as obsolete relics, unable to contend with an intelligence that not only anticipated their moves, but manipulated the very battlefield to its favor. Frustration mounted among the ranks of the ancient empires. Strategic councils held in dimly lit war rooms buzzed with urgent debates, as seasoned generals and alien tacticians attempted to pinpoint a weakness in the enigmatic vessel. Was there a chink in its seemingly impenetrable armor? Could its propulsion system, powered by an energy source unknown to the cosmic powers, be overwhelmed by sheer force? No matter how many new tactics were devised, swarm attacks, energy-draining devices, even reckless sacrifices of entire fleets, the warship deflected every approach with a graceful brutality that left no room for error. The more the enemy fought, the more it became apparent that this confrontation was not merely a battle of firepower, but a collision of eras, a demonstration that the future had arrived with capabilities that rendered ancient military doctrines moot. Across the battlefield, an uneasy realization spread among the alien commanders. Every strategy they had relied on, every battle plan etched in the annals of their empire's histories, was now obsolete. Their technology, honed over eons of warfare, stood impotent against a force that seemed to exist outside the known parameters of time. In a desperate bid, a coalition of the galaxy's mightiest fleets united their forces, pooling every available resource into a final, coordinated assault. But as they advanced in unison, the warship executed a series of precise, almost surgical countermaneuvers, turning their unity into a liability. One by one, The invaders were scattered into the void, their fleets disintegrating as if consumed by an unseen, all-powerful force. The battlefield, once a canvas of ambition and conquest, had transformed into a stark display of futility. The alien armadas, proud and unyielding for millennia, found themselves humbled by an adversary whose very existence defied the logic of warfare. In the wake of these devastating encounters, fear began to replace hubris, a terror not born of chaos, but of an overwhelming certainty that the rules of engagement had irrevocably changed. The warship, an emissary from a time yet to come, had declared a new era where ancient might was rendered obsolete by the sheer force of future ingenuity. As the relentless pursuit continued, the warship's maneuvers grew ever more enigmatic, and the battlefield transformed into a stage for unprecedented terror and awe. Entire battle groups, once mighty and battle-hardened, began vanishing as if swallowed by a black void. In the midst of the chaos, whispers turned into frantic murmurs among the alien ranks. Could it be that this warship was more than just a vessel of advanced technology? Some began to speculate that it was not merely a tool of war, but a living embodiment of destiny itself. The warship's actions became increasingly measured, almost preordained, as if it anticipated every move by its adversaries before they even reached their command bridges. Fleets attempted desperate, uncoordinated attacks, launching salvo after salvo in a last bid to overcome the inexplicable force of its countermeasures. But each offensive was met with an almost prophetic precision. The warship executed evasive maneuvers that made even the most seasoned tacticians reconsider their strategies. Energy pulses rippled through space, dissolving entire squadrons before their weapons could fully charge, leaving commanders in disarray and their fleets in shattered remnants. In the heart of this interstellar maelstrom, the warship's sensors began to pick up more than just enemy movements. They registered a pattern, a series of signals and subroutines that hinted at an intelligence far beyond what any alien or human had encountered before. It was as if the warship was not only defending itself, but was also communicating, sending cryptic signals into the void. These transmissions, though indecipherable at first, soon became the subject of frantic debates among intercepted communications analysts. Was the ship issuing a challenge? Or was it a dire warning of what was to come if the ancient empires continued to defy the inevitable shift in cosmic order? The panic escalated as renowned alien tacticians, revered for their battlefield acumen, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Their plans, once lauded for their ingenuity, crumbled under the weight of the warship's seemingly omniscient responses. Amid the chaos, isolated units reported experiencing moments of eerie synchronicity, fleets that moved in unison as if guided by an invisible hand. In one harrowing encounter, a flagship known for its invincibility was rendered inert as its crew watched in horror. A sudden shift in gravitational fields, orchestrated by the warship's inexplicable technology, sent the vessel spiraling into a gravitational well from which there was no escape. The rising tide of terror was palpable. Battle after battle, the ancient strategies of massed fire and overwhelming force proved futile against the warship's otherworldly tactics. The relentless, almost sentient precision with which it countered every attack led to a mounting realization. The warship did not merely fight. It anticipated, adapted, and executed its maneuvers with an artistry that defied logical military doctrine. This realization resonated deeply among the enemy ranks, igniting a fearful speculation that the ship might indeed be a manifestation of humanity's future, a future where Earth had mastered the very secrets of time and space. Across the scattered remnants of fleets, a desperate urgency emerged. Commanders, now isolated and disoriented by the unyielding force of the warship, began to issue orders that betrayed their fear, to fall back, to surrender, or to seek parley with a being they scarcely understood. Yet, every attempt at negotiation was rebuffed by the warship's cold, relentless advance. Its actions spoke of a finality, a conclusive statement that the ancient powers had been given one chance to either adapt or be erased from the cosmic ledger. In the twilight of conventional warfare, as fleets disintegrated into nothingness, the very fabric of the galaxy's power structure began to unravel. The warship, seemingly a phantom of an inevitable future, left behind a trail of unanswered questions and shattered ambitions. Its silent, calculated efficiency underscored an unspoken truth. In the clash between centuries-old might and the revolutionary force of the future, only one could prevail. And with every vanishing fleet, the message grew ever clearer. Resistance against this inexorable tide was not only futile, but a surrender to destiny itself. In a climactic crescendo of cosmic warfare, the warship gathered its enigmatic energies and executed a maneuver that defied all conventional battle strategies. As the scattered remnants of alien fleets hesitated in their retreat, the vessel shifted its trajectory with a precision that bordered on the miraculous. It was as though time itself had slowed, allowing the warship to tap into a power source beyond mortal reckoning, a power that bent the very laws of physics. The final offensive was not one of brute force, but of calculated elegance, a singular, sweeping motion that would determine the fate of the galaxy in one fell moment. The maneuver unfolded like a perfectly orchestrated symphony. In one calculated, breathtaking instant, the warship unleashed an energy pulse of unimaginable magnitude. This pulse radiated outward in a brilliant cascade of light and raw power, enveloping the enemy fleets in a wave of energy that seemed to disintegrate matter at the subatomic level. Entire warships, once symbols of imperial might, were reduced to fleeting echoes in the void, wreckage scattered like stardust across the black expanse of space. The energy surge was so overwhelming that it rendered conventional weaponry obsolete. Laser blasts and missile volleys that had once defined the essence of galactic combat were swallowed by the luminous force, leaving nothing behind but silence and devastation. Alien commanders, once resolute in their defiance, now stared in awe and terror as their fleets crumbled before them. The unified assault, meticulously crafted over centuries, had been dismantled by a single act of futuristic brilliance. In the aftermath of the pulse, the cosmic battleground was transformed into a tableau of ruin. Shattered vessels drifting aimlessly, energy remnants glistening in the vacuum, and a pervasive stillness that spoke louder than any battle cry. The mighty empires, which had once believed themselves untouchable, now faced the crushing reality that their dominion was over. As the shock of the final maneuver reverberated through the galaxy, the warship decelerated gracefully, its engines emitting a low, resonant hum, a sound that carried both finality and promise. The vessel's advanced systems reactivated, transmitting a silent confirmation of victory to those aboard. Within the command deck, the crew exchanged solemn glances, their expressions a mix of relief and sorrow for the inevitable cost of progress. They knew that while this maneuver had saved countless lives by averting a protracted war, it had also irrevocably altered the cosmic order. For the alien fleets, the collapse of their once formidable armadas marked the end of an era. Their battle formations, so meticulously designed over millennia, now lay in ruins, a stark reminder that the future had arrived with a force that rendered all past strategies futile. The shock was not merely technological but existential. The understanding that the fabric of their reality had been upended by a power that transcended time. As the debris of fallen warships drifted silently through space, a pervasive melancholy settled over the remnants of a once mighty civilization. The impact of the warship's decisive maneuver rippled outward, affecting not just the battle lines but the very psychology of every galactic power. Commanders and strategists alike were forced to confront a humbling truth. The future was no longer a distant possibility, but a present, unstoppable force that had shattered their illusions of eternal dominance. In that moment of climactic victory, the warship had not only won the battle, it had redefined the parameters of cosmic conflict. The ancient empires, once impervious to change, were now faced with the daunting reality of their own obsolescence, forced to reckon with a future that belonged irrevocably to humanity. In the wake of the warship's cataclysmic maneuver, the cosmic battlefield shifted from one of open conflict to an eerie, resounding silence. The shattered remnants of once mighty fleets floated in the void, their debris serving as a testament to a power that had rendered centuries of warfare obsolete. As the energy pulse dissipated, an almost palpable calm enveloped the ravaged expanse, as if the very fabric of space was taking a deep, measured breath before the next inevitable surge of change. From within the warship's command center, the crew absorbed the weight of their unprecedented victory. The vessel's advanced neural network, intertwined with centuries of human ingenuity, began processing the monumental shift in galactic dynamics. Data streams cascaded across holographic displays, each representing not just the physical destruction wrought upon the enemy, but also the profound psychological impact that reverberated throughout the universe. The crew, bound together by a singular purpose, shared quiet moments of introspection, a recognition that while the battle was won, the cost had been immense, and the future remained shrouded in uncertainty. Simultaneously, the warship transmitted a final message, a succinct, coded transmission intended for all major galactic powers. The message carried with it a tone that was neither triumphant nor merciless, but instead resolute and somber. It declared that the devastation witnessed was not an act of unprovoked aggression, but a calculated demonstration of what awaited any who dared challenge the natural progression of humanity's destiny. With the cold logic of a machine, yet imbued with the passion of a visionary, the transmission warned, any further defiance would meet the same inexorable force of progress. It was a declaration that echoed across the cosmos, a reminder that the age of outdated empires had drawn to a close, and a new chapter, driven by the relentless march of time, had begun. For the alien warlords and their erstwhile invincible fleets, the final message was both a dirge and a prophecy. In the aftermath of the shock, they convened in secret conclaves, grappling with the surreal realization that their long-held supremacy was now a relic of a bygone era. The psychological impact was profound. Even as they nursed the wounds of defeat, they could not help but ponder the fate of their civilizations in the face of an unstoppable force that bridged the gap between past and future. Leaders who had once ruled with an iron will now found themselves in an existential crisis, forced to accept that the rules they had built their empires upon were no longer valid. The fabric of their authority began to unravel as doubts crept in. Questions about destiny, technological evolution, and the very nature of warfare that had defined their existence for millennia. Meanwhile, distant corners of the galaxy buzzed with speculation and cautious hope. Some factions, emboldened by the warship's intervention, sought to adapt and learn from the unprecedented event. In hidden laboratories and clandestine academies, scientists and engineers raced to decipher the arcane principles underlying the warship's technology, determined to harness even a fraction of its potential. The message of the warship had sown seeds of both fear and inspiration. Fear of the unknown and the possibility of irrelevance, and inspiration from the audacious vision that dared to challenge the cosmic status quo. There was a growing understanding that the future was not a static timeline to be awaited but an active, evolving force that demanded adaptation, innovation, and a willingness to embrace the uncharted. In the command center, as the warship stabilized its systems and prepared for the next phase of its mysterious mission, the crew's expressions bore the weight of a new responsibility. Their victory was not an end but a clarion call to all of humanity and the universe alike. The future was here, and it would not be constrained by the relics of the past. With one final look at the silent remnants of an era that had crumbled beneath the force of destiny, the warship resumed its course, a symbolic voyage into an uncertain future, leaving behind a galaxy forever altered. In the wake of the cataclysmic showdown, the galaxy was left to grapple with a new reality, a cosmos forever altered by the arrival and actions of the human warship. The once mighty empires, their legacies built on centuries of dominance and unyielding power, now faced a profound existential crisis. In the smoldering silence of war-torn space, the remnants of alien fleets and shattered battle formations drifted like ghostly memories, each fragment a testament to the irreversible shift in cosmic order. Across the galaxy, in the secret corridors of once impregnable fortresses and in the hidden archives of forgotten libraries, leaders and scholars pored over the events that had transpired. Their debates were laced with a mixture of awe, regret, and a bitter acknowledgement of their obsolescence. Questions echoed through the halls of power. How could a single vessel, born from humanity's distant future, have so effortlessly undone the legacy of empires that had once ruled unchallenged? What did this portent mean for the fate of civilizations that had thrived on the predictable rhythms of war and peace? For many, the arrival of the warships served as a stark harbinger of impending change, a signal that the future was no longer a distant, abstract concept, but an active force reshaping destiny. In hushed tones, emissaries from various factions discussed the possibility of forging new alliances, blending ancient wisdom with the innovative spark ignited by the warship's demonstration. Some saw an opportunity for reconciliation, a chance to rebuild a fractured galaxy on the foundations of mutual respect and a shared vision for progress. Others, still entrenched in the old ways, vowed to resist this new order, clinging desperately to relics of power that now seemed laughably archaic. On Earth, the echoes of the warship's arrival reverberated in a mix of pride and trepidation. Human leaders, who had long regarded their eventual supremacy as a promise for a far-off future, now faced the complex task of reconciling a past filled with uncertainty with a present that demanded immediate adaptation. The warship, a symbol of both triumph and warning, had irrevocably redefined what it meant to be human in the cosmic theater. Its legacy was a dual-edged sword, one that illuminated the path forward while casting long, inescapable shadows over the ruins of yesterday's empires. In the end, the galaxy's rulers were left with a simple yet profound truth. The future belonged not to those who clung to outdated hierarchies, but to those willing to embrace transformation and innovation. As various factions regrouped and recalibrated their strategies, one thought prevailed above all others. Humanity's destiny was no longer a promise for a distant tomorrow, but a reality unfolding in the present. The shock of the warship's intervention had shattered the illusion of eternal control, leaving behind a universe that now understood. The future had arrived, and its message was as clear as it was irrevocable. The old order was gone, and in its place emerged a universe poised on the brink of an uncertain, yet infinitely promising, new era.